Good morning. This is Shri here with the Super Bowl update. The Kansas City Chiefs lifted the 57th edition of the Lombardi Trophy. Patrick Mahomes became the MVP of the Super Bowl. And the game was very close until the end. Excellent game. Came down to whoever had the ball in the final minutes of the game. During my preview, I had mentioned that Philadelphia would indeed be the one kicking the field goal, but it turned out to be Kansas City. This could be termed as a tale of two halves. One, in the first half, Philadelphia Eagles dominated the time of possession. Their offensive line held. They had an excellent opening drive to score 7. Kansas City came right back and scored again. Philadelphia was able to muster a great drive and scored again with Jalen Hurts. And Kansas City definitely looked, they didn't have the ball in their hand. So definitely their defense was on the field for much longer. But to Kansas City's credit, they hung around. And this time it was not Patrick Mahomes who made the play to tie the game, but rather their defense came up with a fumble recovery and tied the game at 14-all. The Eagles continued to dominate the time of possession, mixing up with short passes, some runs, and an occasional long throws. And by the time the half ended, the Eagles looked like they were going to win the Super Bowl with a 10-point lead. But something changed in the second half. Even in the first half, I think Patrick Mahomes was hardly touched. So a lot of credit to the Kansas City offensive line, who did an amazing job protecting Patrick Mahomes. And the Eagles' defensive line could not make any dent into the Kansas City offensive line. In the second half, Kansas City looked like a completely different team. They were dominant. Their offensive line did a great job holding the defensive line, and I think every drive they had in the second half, they scored. Meanwhile, the Eagles, on the other hand, could not really muster good drives. They had a very, very long drive with 7 minutes, 45 seconds, but only came up with 3 points. And when you play the Chiefs and Mahomes, 3 is not going to cut it. You need to put the ball in the end zone to even have a fighting chance. And that left a lot of opening for the Chiefs. It was a back and forth affair, and the Chiefs went up by a point. And then they had a great, they forced Philadelphia to punt. They had a great punt return almost to the 10-yard line, and 3 plays later, Kansas City went up by 8. To Philadelphia's credit, they regrouped. They came back stronger. They had some excellent third down conversions. Hurts made an amazing throw to Devontae Smith, I think. And Eagles, got down to the 4-yard line. And within 2 plays, they were able to put the ball in the end zone. And also, Jalen Hurts managed to convert a 2-point conversion with a nice move to the left-hand side. And the game was tied at 35-all. This is where Kansas City really knew how to put the game away. Once they got the ball in their possession, they kept marching down the field. They made some critical third down plays, and there will be a lot discussed with 1:48 to go, where there was a holding call on a 3rd and 8. Although the player did admit that he was holding, you cannot make that call in the Super Bowl. It was a very ticky-tack foul that enabled the Kansas City Chiefs to get the first down, run out the clock, and with 6 or 7 seconds to go, they kicked the field goal to win their second Lombardi Trophy in 4 years. Is this a dynasty? Yet to be seen, but Mahomes is now the new face of the NFL. The Kansas City Chiefs are a team to reckon with, just like the Patriots were a team to reckon with back in 2000s. And all the other teams in the AFC and the NFC will be now gunning for Kansas City going forward. Sets up for a interesting NFL seasons going forward. Just to one other point that was brought that I wanted to bring to attention was the field was probably one of the most terrible surfaces that we've ever seen for both sides. And I think as someone, Kansas City defensive lineman Frank Clark said, the field was terrible, and we really need to consider having good fields for a Super Bowl. Both the teams had a tough time keeping their footing. They had to change their cleats. Even the quarterbacks was slipping. Again, one of the Eagles offensive linemen compared the field to playing in a water park. The footing was terrible. Again, everybody had to play, but the thing is that for millions of viewers watching this game, the field should not be the story of the game. And again, field calls on the field should not be the story. Instead, the focus should be always on the play on the field. But there are some things that that took away from what was a excellent game. It was going to be decided by a field goal. My prediction did come out wrong, but I felt good about the Eagles and their offensive line and their defensive line. But Patrick Mahomes has proved once again that he is the best player in the NFL, and him and the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be a staple in the championship games. So the other teams have to really step up their game. For now, the Kansas City Chiefs are the Super Bowl champions. They deserve it. Patrick Mahomes is the MVP. He's cemented himself as probably one of the best players in the game. I think it's almost like a Hall of Fame career. Andy Reid, definitely a Hall of Fame coach. Amazing, he has taken the Chiefs again, to 3 Super Bowls, and there could be more to come. I see them well positioned for the next few years. So with that, we end the Super Bowl update. We'll be back again with other sports, but hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening. Take care.